I worked for a little time in San Antonio where I was the assistant director of downtown operations, which was a really unique job. I had everything to do with downtown San Antonio, managed Riverwalk. And then prior to that, where I really think I got most of my experience was in Austin. I was an operations division manager in charge of all the parks in Austin and all the facilities. But when I got there, there was a starting of a turnover, so a lot of the older folks were retiring, and they had so much to give, so much information to share. Fortunately, I was in a leadership role, and I was able to really pull that information out of them and show their appreciation of the work that they'd done in Austin. And so that really kind of melded me to really and inspired me to do bigger and better things. When I was working in San Antonio, I was there for about a year and a half. My role there was to take care of everything downtown in regards to recreational activities, parks, the tourism. And this is where I really learned a lot about the economic impact of parks and recreation on a community. The economic impact of parks has been well documented by a lot of different folks, but it's hugely impactful for each community. And as we develop parks, as we look at the future, seeing the impacts of all those dollars coming in and those dollars turning around being spent back into the infrastructure of parks, it's huge. And so that was one of the lessons I learned to take with me to Wichita. I've been in Wichita for 9 years, and I've been fortunate to put together close to $200 million worth of capital improvements. Been working on an aquatics master plan. We built a new baseball stadium. It's a minor league baseball stadium. Brought a minor league team back to Wichita, so I was part of that team. Working on several new recreation centers. Growing up, very much involved with sports and athletics, and spent a lot of time in the park. And every summer I remember going through swimming lessons and tennis lessons. My friends, my neighborhood friends, we would meet at the park, and we created our own little BMX track. We created our own little football field. And this all happened in the park, and where my parents could find me. If they didn't know I was in the front yard, I would be in our local park just a couple blocks away. Mom would drive over there, get in the car, it's time to go home. So, that was just such a part of my life, and I think that was a good foundation. So, after I graduated high school, I went into the Army. I was a pretty good swimmer from all those swim lessons that my mom stuck me into. And part of my job when I was in the Army was to train other soldiers how to swim. And so I learned my different techniques in regards to teaching lessons. I earned lifeguard certification as well as other instructor certifications. So when I got out of the Army, I went to college at the University of Northern Colorado. It's in Greeley. And I used my experience. I went to go work for the Parks and Recreation Department. And I was a manager. I was managing swimming pools and managing a bunch of lifeguards. It was really kind of fun. But my dad's a CPA, my mom's a CPA, my brother's a CPA. I was getting my degree in accounting. I was supposed to be a CPA. And it was that very last semester, I was interviewing with some of the accounting firms because my dad wanted me to work for another accounting firm before I come to work for him. And it was that decision. I said, I see that Parks and Recreation director in the department, and I want to do that. So it was that last semester where I made a change, and I got a full-time job as an aquatics coordinator. And aquatics was the foundation of my career. I think I still have chlorine in my blood. And that was just the foundation that I kept moving up and up and up until I reached that goal of becoming a Parks and Recreation director. One of my favorite mentors is a gentleman by the name of Chuck Mayville. He taught me so much, and it's not about how you do your job. It's about the why you do your job. And you do it because you want to have an impact on the community, and you want to take care of the people that you are serving. And so when I was in the Army, we talked about, serving your country, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm serving my community in a little bit of a different fashion, but it's all about providing service to your community. I've been really fortunate in my career, and I think I made some good career moves. But I've taken each job and kind of built off of that and kept learning. And So what I tell a lot of the folks that are starting off in the career is really learn the business side of how Parks and Recreation operates. My typical days is I'm working on contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts. I'm overseeing construction, which I have to know about industry construction standards, HR issues. We're dealing with that on a daily basis. And these are all people-related things. So it's not just about knowing how to program. There's a whole lot more to it than that. And so I think as a young person coming into the profession, you have to think big. You have to really think about how you're going to have an impact on the community. So what I think is happening in the field is a lot of folks are seeing the diversity in the field and the many, many required skills. So I think universities are doing a great job in the Parks and Recreation curriculums of really teaching a lot of the foundation. And you still need that to create really good programs to really move departments or agencies moving forward. However, one of the things that I look for as a director when I'm hiring folks is what other skills can they bring to the table? Not just in Parks and Recreation, but a lot of other places. You need people that can do all kinds of things. That's the way you're going to be successful, because one day you're going to be asked to do an outdoor river adventure. One day you might be in charge of the climbing wall. One day you might be in charge of the swimming pool. But the more you can do all those skills, the more valuable you become. I think if I really count the years, it's somewhere over 30, 35 years that I've been in Parks and Recreation. And I think a lot of things have changed in regards to expectations of our customers and our citizens. The expectations have really changed, that they need bigger and better things to really keep them captivated. But I think we're looking at things to get people more active, is to actually lead them and show them. And I think that skill has been lost a little bit throughout the years. But once you get people into the parks and you can show them all the great things that they can do, then they keep coming back and they keep coming back. We did a program with Pokemon in our parks. So you use your phone to go find things in the park. And at the same time, you identify plants, you identify trees, you show them some of the wildlife and the insects. That all becomes part of it. You kind of have to integrate all that to meet some of those expectations now. So those are some of the things that have changed. Parks and Recreation, we are proactive. We are teaching people life skills. We're teaching people how to be healthy. Parks and Recreation is the fabric and the foundation of every community. There's the gathering space. There's opportunities for people to spend time with their friends and family, but also there's cultural activities that are going on as well. We now have art in the parks. So there's just this education culture that just manifests itself in parks. A good example is the St. Louis Arch. It's in a fantastic park, and there's several parks that are right next to it. How does St. Louis identify themselves? With the Arch. And you can see that in every community across the country. We started some inclusion programming, and we have what's called a Miracle Field. And this Miracle Field is a field that is built for people with wheelchairs or other kind of disabilities. So we had this program for a while, but we decided to find ways, and we found some funding to expand it. And so now we're doing a Miracle League with our local bowling alley. We did swimming. We're doing softball now. We just added some other sports and other activities. And it was really exciting. It was really kind of cool to see that population really enjoying not only themselves and get to know each other, but some of the other aspects within our parks. And so one of the mothers came to come talk to me, and she's crying. She walks up to me and she's crying. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's wrong? We did something really, really bad. And she was crying tears of joy. And she said that her son had never felt more included and more involved than after going through this program. And then I got chills. And I knew that we made an impact. And that's what we're supposed to do. I know I'm doing my job. When things like that happen, it makes you feel really good. And that's what kind of wakes you up, gets you up in the morning, because you know that what you're going to do is great for the community.